Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, and welcome to the best of the 757 Community Talk Show. And I am your host, the one and only. I'm not a legend, just in my mind. I can't help that, but I'll do it on time. That's for sure. Welcome to the broadcast, and I hope that you're having a blessed day. And go ahead and hit that share button and invite some people over to the page because we got a lot to talk about today. Just going to randomly get into it and let you know that, hey, it's all about the love. It's all about sharing and caring. And, you know, just want to be able to show some love to the 757. We still celebrating Black history. And most importantly, you know, WVDM and Bond Digital Media is now doing history 365, 365 days a year. Uh, what's going on here? What did I didn't do? Oh, okay. We'll let that roll for right now. And let me do this here. I forgot to put the topic in for today. Let me see if I still got it. There it is. Okay. But want to let you know if you know someone that might be thinking and contemplating suicide or need, call the crisis line at 988 and 998 988. That's the suicide and crisis line. If you know somebody that might be in need of someone to talk to during a mental nervous breakdown or going through problems that they can't resolve themselves, there's always someone that we can reach out to. But once again, welcome to the best of the community talk show with yours truly, Captain 85. And we just want to re-emphasize that it's all about love. It's all about love here at WVDM. Let me let you see me so you know that I'm here. Hello, how you doing? This is not a recording. This is live. And I hope that everybody had a great weekend. I'm talking about Sunday. It was crazy bananas. And my team, of course, lost. They lost. Philly came in like a whirlwind, went out like a storm. I mean, they tore up the field, you know. And I'm not an Eagles fan, but hey, I had to reach for my boys, San Francisco 49ers. I don't know if they was, because the president was there. I don't know what went on. A blowout like that, something went wrong. Somebody didn't get the memo. They supposed to be there to play football. What happened to the memo? Did anybody decide to read the emails, the texts? But hey, things happen. We got to get over it. And, the best part of it is that Kendrick Lamar came out and did his thing. He slammed the halftime, normally Super Bowl. I think some people got up and left. Some people got up and left. But hey, it is what it is. See, in music, in the arts, regardless of what type it is, it's an art form. We express ourselves through our creativity, and sometimes you got to do that in order to bring awareness of history and let our people know that our history is not just February. Our history is 365 days. And we have to be able to understand and recognize that for our youth and for our people to understand. Do your research. Do your research and stop being blindsided with all the things that go on and people making promises they can't keep. Now, a lot of people that voted and not liking what's going on. But nevertheless, As the old folks used to say, we are soldiers in the army, and we got to fight. Although we have no right, you got to hold up that banner. Because I'm in God's army. When you in God's army, you got to do what is needed for our people to survive. You know, feelings might get hurt along the way, but through our pain and suffering, people always survive. And that's what our history teaches us, that we have to continue to fight. After 400 years, we are still fighting. For what purpose? Why are we still fighting when we shouldn't have to be? If we all are Americans, that's what they tell us. But it seems that we ain't. We still fighting the Civil War, slavery. We all are human. We all have a right. We all have a right to freedom and love and prosperity. And most of the time, we're just trying to survive. We ain't trying to fight 400 years of slavery. That is not what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is educate our young people in a positive way that we all must get along on a planet we can't get off. Well, we can't. Elon Musk can. He build rocket ships. You got people that own spaceships and want to build colonies on other planets. I just want to stay here. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to go where you're going. I'm not. I watch Star Trek. As they say, space, the final frontier. I ain't trying to do that. I got enough space out here in the community and neighborhood that is strange to me today. We can't even get along here. And you're going to go to another planet and try to take over? You're going to try to go to another planet? I don't think it's going to work. I don't care where you're trying to go, to the moon, Venus, Mars, Jupiter. I don't care. There's billions of planets out there. Don't get it twisted. So when you don't study science and look at all the science shows, or some of them are in school, those are stars out there, but they're planets that's reflecting light from the sun because of the gases that surrounded them. They are millions and billions miles away. There's other galaxies out there. And you think that God created one planet with people on it. It is something wrong with your thinking. It is something wrong with our thinking. We used to be isolated from the other parts of the world because other parts of the world didn't have the transportation. You'll learn that when you go to college. They don't want you to learn that in middle school or high school. They want to wait till you get to college. That's where it is. When you learn the real history of the planet called Mother Earth, the birthplace of all humans, the human race. And we can't even get along down here. We can't even get along down here. But we want to go to another planet. Please, 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 please stop it. You think you're going to leave here, go to another planet that might be which is already inhabited. They just don't let you know because they're a little bit more technology advanced. Read your history. Study science. I don't know everything, but I know enough for them to tell you that planet Earth sits so far out in the universe that we just a spot of light, a spot, just like you see all the other stars and stuff. We are amongst the stars. This planet is amongst the stars. That's why they can't find us. Maybe that's what God intended, until everybody else catch up in the technology. Or maybe they more advanced than us, that, hey, we ain't coming here. Don't let them know that, hey, bro, don't let them know that we exist. You see how they acted down there? Man, it'll be another 50, 200 years before thousands of years before they can reach our solar system, orbit, our planets. Don't even try to contact them. What do you think? You the only one got a cell phone. You the only one got communications. Really? Are you serious? Even animals know how to communicate. You have a dog, you have a cat. Don't they communicate with you? We just can't understand their language. Or do we? Because they understand ours. They can just sense it, the energy, the frequencies that we give off. We all have that frequency. Our body gives off frequencies, understanding that you're not alone. Good afternoon, Miss Annette. How you doing? Dear friend from New York City. How you doing? How you doing? Welcome to the broadcast. Don't be hesitating if you have some comments. A true family friend member. Been knowing her for years, and she's always been supportive of the things. And she was a dear friend of my late sister, Eve Dennis. They worked together, and I had the opportunity when I was in New York visiting one time, and my sister, and she took me where she used to work at, and that's how I got acquainted with her dear friend. And she's always been there through a lot of things that my family has been through. She's always supportive and always been there to even, listen to my long conversations, 4 or 5 hours. And she said, enough is enough, and I can't take any more. And my phone died, and I might hear back from her 2 months later. But it's okay. I know how it is, because I know I get to talking. Even on here, I began to talk too long. And what happens is, I know that it's more important to make conversation, let people know who you really are. I'm not a rocket scientist, but I do some research. And I learned in college, if you want to do research, you have to go to a university library, and when you sign into other portals that you use in college for research, it has to be scientifically proven about what you say. And when it comes to us getting along here, we see from the Super Bowl on Sunday, Kendrick Lamar came out with Samuel Jackson and a few other celebrities, and they did the darn thing, and most people didn't recognize that when they came out on the field, that they were representing the American flag, and a little people got a little upset about it, and the president, he's canceled the Philadelphia Eagles not coming to the White House like they normally do. I guess because he showed up at the football team. Because I try to explain to people, football is not football. Football is designed, any sports is designed for war. Because why you say that? Well, the Eagles is in Philadelphia. The Dallas Cowboys are in Dallas. The Redskins were the Redskins, but now they're the Commandos. I wonder where they got that name from. I'm going to have to do some research on that one. They're in D.C. So you have to understand that each football team represents a state. They're doing battle just like as if the Civil War, but they're not going to say that in public. sports is a art of war. So when Kendrick Lamar decided to go on the Super Bowl with his halftime performance, it's got a lot of people in an uproar. And, black people are like, yeah, it went over some people's heads. And it did for a minute, but I'm like, why they got all those colors? But then when they began to come out and formulate, you know, uh, their design, precisionally designed the way they did it, it made you understand, wait a minute, that is the message, as Gail Scott Heron said, it won't be televised, but it was televised Sunday, you know. So we go through a lot of historic things in our culture, but one thing we must begin to take a look at is the gun violence in our community, because at the end of the day, our history is slipping away, because every day you turn on the news, there's nothing but gun violence in all the cities. So when you look around and see gun violence in your news, and news is 24 hours a day, where's all this killing coming from? Why is it that we just can't get along? Why is it that people are leaving their countries just to just want to get along with everything that we go through? If we learn to talk to our young people, just like holding a conversation, this is what talking is about, holding a conversation, not saying that everything I say is correct, but to make dialogue so you can chime in and, make us, give your opinion. I'm only one-sided. It only makes it a conversation when people are engaging with each other. And when that happens, then we all benefit from the from what we can learn. And that's what I do. I learn by listening. I might say something, but I'm, waiting on your rebuttal or you to interject what you think, because I can't read. I'm not a mind reader. I'm not a mind reader. But what I am is concerned about our history. It's not just 365 days. Our history is every day that we get up. When we put our feet on the floor, did you know that if you don't put your feet on the floor, you're dead? The Bible tells you that you are a spirit. This is our vessel so that we can move around on a planet. That's what makes us human. But if God don't send angels to watch over you and me, the alarm clock is going to go off and we ain't going to get up. We're not going to get up. So you have to pray for spiritual guidance. You have to pray that when you lay, as that old prayer, Lord, lay me down to sleep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. Because where's your soul going to go? You're in limbo. You didn't create yourself. Your mother and father is a vessel that allowed them to intermingle sexually, and out of a million or billion sperms that a man, when he ejaculates, over a million sperms is running after one egg. I think it's one. Ladies, don't get, I didn't write no notes. I think it's one egg that a million sperms is trying to impregnate. That's how you get pregnant. And if one sperm reached that egg, that is a gift from God. But through all the things that we have been through in mankind on this planet, wars, destroying people, regardless of what race, what creed or color, we're all still human. And God wants us to love one another. And, I didn't come here to listen to this religion. I do enough of that when I go to church. When I'm on Facebook. I'm only joking. Don't get mad with me. But what I'm trying to say is this. Our young people may not be aware of religion. Now they're trying to bring religion back. But why are they bringing religion back now? Oh, the president, Donald Trump, wants religion back in school now because he want to make some money off his books. See, he wants you to have his book, the religion of Donald Trump. I wonder where he got that from. Let me see. I say somewhere in history. I don't want to get the pharaohs mixed up because when they conquered Africa, the original Africa, where the pharaohs were black, and I think it was Alexander the Great or whoever conquered after torturing most of the pharaohs in Egypt. He made, after torturing them so harshly, they was begging for their lives. And he said, I'll make a deal with you. If you tell me how the pyramids work, I will spare your life. And I will let you pray to whatever God you want. They made that deal. That's how you got the pharaohs that you see in the movies. The ones that don't look like us. Because after making that deal, they burnt their eyes out. He let them live, but he burnt their eyes out, cut their tongue out. And that's where you get the three monkeys. Monkeys see no monkey, say no, and hear nothing. Maybe you didn't recognize the symbolism in those three monkeys because we're always identified as animals. So what happened is he's putting his name on a Bible. That's the symbolism of over thousands of years of trying to indoctrinate and destroy the original history of the planet. But you didn't get it from me, so please don't let them know that I mentioned something. But when you go to college and you study Africa, take African culture, then you'll begin to understand the things that are not privileged to everybody that don't go to a higher level of education. But we're supposed to be able to pass on information to educate and strengthen our community. Our youth is the future. This is the future of this planet. This is the future of our planet. If you take your eyes off our future generation, just in the first month of the year, or this month, or Black History Month, did a mother in Norfolk take her children's lives and her life? Did not someone else kill one of their children? It's an ongoing cycle of young people being killed by parents. Then we have the gun violence in the community that's taking young people's lives. And we treat it as if it's normal. We get conditioned by watching to the news, the normalization of the horrors of losing our future. I'm not a rocket scientist. I know a little something. I know one thing. I know about love. I know if you show these young people love, real love, if you show them love, They will grow up to know about love and question things that occur and happen. Not being sassy, but there's a feeling about love that's in your heart, not just in your mind. See, the mind is one thing, but when you learn about love in your heart, it's hard to conquer someone that knows that this doesn't feel right. Why are they being so angry towards us? Why are they doing these things to us that my mother and father said nobody's supposed to touch me in my privates? Why is I'm being slapped or punched and I tell someone and they tell me go sit down? And I'm trying to ask for help in the only way I know how until I get fed up. Maybe take a gun to school because I felt embarrassed. Now I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to take things into my own hands. This is what's happening instead than love. Our kids need love. I done raised 7 kids, helped raise my nieces and nephews. I have talked to many kids throughout the community. When I used to run a club for over 50 years, I talked to the customers that was younger and try to educate them about finances, tell them about, hey, you need to invest your money, save your money. Don't go out here spending all your money in the club. You don't need about, at the time, what, $30? You got enough money. If you got $30, whatever the cover at the door, at that time, $5 or $10, sometimes free. You got $30 to buy a couple of drinks and some food. Well, why do I have to buy food? I ate before I got here. Well, you need something to absorb the alcohol. Because if you don't have food on your stomach, the alcohol will go through the walls of your intestines. And that's why people don't understand that's what's making them drunk. Not just the alcohol being alcohol, because now it's filtrated the walls of your intestines and there's in your bloodstream. Well, how did it get there? Well, let's see. Did you eat anything? See, in the old school, when my father and friends used to come over the house, they used to drink alcohol when I was about 4 or 5. And I would be in the, they're sitting at the kitchen table and I might be in the other room, not directly in there, but I used to observe. And if you're old school, if you used to go to the private places or when we didn't have clubs like a short Schumann, a long Schumann hall, those dance halls, and they used to sell pickled pig feet. Maybe you didn't understand what that was for. The vinegar from the pickled pig feet that you're eating coats your stomach. That's why when people come over to a house, they're eating fried chicken, eating something with grease in it, because the grease lines your intestines and keep the alcohol from penetrating the walls, but it slows it down. And when you go to a club, because like I said, I do a lot of research. I study a lot of things because my spirit will tell me this is what you need to watch. When the police pull people over when they leave the club, it's always when they leave the club. And you're like, you run into a roadblock. Let me show you. So my thing was to keep the club open an extra hour after the bar closed, because if you are dancing, now get this, just in case you didn't know, if you are dancing and you're sweating, all that alcohol comes out through your pores. It comes out through your arms. Yep. It comes out, you're sweaty, and people are like, get away from me. You smell like alcohol, because it then came out of your arms, your legs, anywhere, your body, it comes out. Then that gives you a chance to sober up just a little before you get behind the steering wheel. And why do you think people go to 7-Eleven or go to breakfast, get a cup of black coffee and drink it? That too also helps. All these little things that people may not mention to you or tell you, This is why. And you say, what is alcohol? Do you really know what alcohol is? There are different brands, of course, but do you know what it's made from? You know one of the main things in alcohol? Sugar. Oh, you didn't know that? You didn't know sugar is the main ingredient in alcohol? Oh, you're a diabetic. Oh, then why are you drinking alcohol? Now you know. And I used to educate my bartenders after they've been to bartending school, but we have meetings and I would tell them, be careful. I use a jigger. A jigger in a club is designed by the ABC rules and regulations of how much alcohol you're supposed to pour per drink per mix, so that you're only supposed to drink so many ounces of liquor, every half hour or an hour, because your digestive system got to digest it. So when all these things occur, you need to know why things are happening. And in the Afro-American community, Black and brown people drink mostly dark liquor. Your Hennessy, your Cavassier, Crown, Jack, those are dark liquors. And at one point, only Black people drink dark liquors. That's why you have dark and you have light. Light liquors are mostly what white people drink. All you got to do is notice your friends what they drink. Or they mixtures, I want a fruit punch, I want it fruity, but it's usually white liquors in it, because dark liquor gives you kidney stones. Well, you gotta, just research it. If I'm wrong, come back next week and let me know. You were wrong. I don't mind being wrong. I'm having a conversation. That's why I do a disclaimer. Everything I say ain't law, and it ain't in my Bible. My mouth ain't no Bible. So I might blur the lines a little bit, but somewhere along the way, these are the things that you have to be aware of. All the things that we go through, all the things that we put ourselves through, all the different foods we eat. I was doing some research and stumbled across the site, and the site says, do anybody ever ask, which it does make a lot of sense. I used to work for Colonial Store Warehouse. Why is the meat always red? Why is meat always red? Can anybody answer that? I mean, don't hesitate. Text it in there. Why is meat always red? Oh, because they had blood in it. No, because with the chemicals they put in it to give it that beautiful red color, like hamburger, steaks, meat doesn't stay red because there's no blood running through it. But to make it look good and presentable, chemicals are put in everything that we eat, everything that we drink. So that's why you have to be careful. We're on a planet that we rely on chemicals in everything that we consume. The clothing got chemicals in it. Everything that you use, there's a chemical somewhere along the way. That's why when Jesus said, and why we bless our food, we're supposed to say, give God thanks for the food, but also the prayer also protect the food that we intake into our body. There's a lot of things about scriptures and the words that we use and the things that we choose to protect us. From food to music to TV, everything has an effect on the human spirit. But we have to do is do our due diligence, read, research, and protect ourselves, even when it seems like no one else is really protecting us. But you do have some doctors out there that take an oath and try to live up to the oath. But health is big business. And you ain't seen that in the last 20 years. In the last 20 years, you got more hospitals and drugstores in your neighborhood than you ever had in the history of the United States. You can't, all you gotta do is, I tell people like this, why don't you ride down Virginia Beach Boulevard and see how many drugstores you pass? Ride through Virginia Beach at any intersection and see how many hospitals almost a block apart. But go through the black neighborhood. How many hospitals? How many black doctors are there? We have to protect our physical, mental, spiritual. We have to protect it. We're on a planet we can't get off until we die. And where you go from there, that's anybody's guess, because it's determined by how you live. Because you're a spirit, you don't die. The body you in will die, but the spirit lives on. And it goes back from which it came. God created us by his breath. That's why we are spirits. He breathed into the clay of the earth and made us a living creature. We are supposed to protect the spirit because he gave us the tools to do that. And when we fall short along the way, we have to continue to pray and ask for forgiveness. I'm not a saint, don't get me wrong. I'm just a person that believes in sharing information so that we all can have a conversation without yelling and screaming. We all hold the key to knowledge. And the only way we can connect the dots is that we communicate with one another. We don't have to yell and scream. I don't have to call you names or you call me names. I don't care what race, creed, or color you are. The only person I ever had more argument with is my own people. And I know many different nationalities. I've been in people's houses, never met them until the day I came to their house when I was in New York going to broadcasting school. And my teacher, who I was producing her talk show, had invited me to meet her over this the Jewish family down in Manhattan. I don't know nothing about New York, but I found out that Manhattan is where all the rich people stay at. Of course, when you go there, somebody got to let you in the building. They got a doorman that opened the door for you. But what I learned is, while I was waiting for her to come, they didn't know me from Adam or Eve. They didn't know if I was a robber or a murderer. They just let me in their house. And they was like 70-some years old. I went in, I sat there, I was like, where's she at? Why she tell me to come somewhere that she wasn't going to be? I don't know these people, and they don't know me. You know, they was very polite, very hospitable, giving me, asking me, would you like something to eat? Hospitable. And asked me, did I want something to drink? I said, no, thank you. She said, have you eaten today? I said, at lunchtime, I had a slice of pizza. She said, no, it's late. You need something else. And I'm like, no, I don't eat, because my mom always brought us up. You don't eat everybody's cooking. So I'm from the South. I ain't eating I could be starving like Marvin. Oh, no. You know, because my mom brought us up. Only way somebody can do something to you, if you eat something, put something inside you. If you don't know them, don't eat at their table. Don't take nothing and put it in your mouth. Because being part Indian, that's the way we are brought up. To trust family, close-knit. So they said, well, since you're not going to eat, take a piece of fruit. I said, okay, I'll take it. I'll eat it later. No, go ahead. You can eat it. And if you want another piece, you can take one with you. No, I'll hold on to it. And as I thought about it, the movie what Denzel was in when he was blind? And he had the young girl with him. And they was trying to get to the destination that Denzel, I can't remember the name of the movie. And they went to these people's houses. And the people let them in. And they trapped them. And then they talk about they were going to eat them. They was going to cook them and eat them. And they was trying to get them to eat. No, we want nothing to eat. They was the meal. I said, oh, wow. But I don't think they were like that. They were just being hostile. But my to make a long story short, my teacher did show up and we did leave to go down to the hotel down in Madison Avenue, where they was where the all the news media was rehearsing for what they call the when they roasting somebody. And at that time, Mayor Koch was the mayor of New York. He always said, how am I doing? How I'm doing? So, but like I said, I'm in there sitting in there with all these professional TV announcers and newspaper writers, and I looked around. I'm like, where all the black people at? Why I keep showing up and it's like only me here? What's going on? But they was very nice to me. Very nice. And like I said, I'm very quiet, and they try to talk with me and introduce themselves and give me their business cards. And I told them I was going to broadcasting school, and they said, hey, if you need some help with anything, here's my card. I don't mind helping you out if you have any questions about anything about news, radio or television. That's my area of a professional and stuff. I said, I thank you and appreciate it. But this is anywhere I go. I haven't been in many cities in many states. I've traveled to cities like from Virginia to New York to New Jersey, and people be like, "Oh, do you know what you're doing?" No, I'm looking for somebody. And people like, "Bro, they'll kill you up here coming in a neighborhood asking, do you know somebody? You could get killed up here." I'm from the South. Yeah, you need to go back, bro, because this is not the place. People would always warn me about New Jersey. They warned me about New York. And I had a friend that was another friend in my broadcasting school. And that was my last week. And I invited her out to a movie because I was coming back to Virginia. And I took her to a movie. And man, I didn't know what the price of New York was, And I only had about $70. Man. And she wanted to catch a cab from her house in the Bronx back to Manhattan. That was $40. And I had about 40, or go to the movies, about another food and a movie was $25. And I think she picked up the tab for breakfast. I left the tip. And I only had about $8 left. And she said, let's catch the cab back to her house. I'm like, okay. And I'm embarrassed because I ain't had no money. So when she got out, to go in the house, I asked the cab driver, said, how much it costs to get to the next subway station? He said, from here to the next subway station. Most of them are closed. I can take you to one that might still be open. They close at 12. They close the gate at 12 because they stopped running the express. It'd be all local. I said, when you get there, just let me know. He said, yeah, that'll be about $8. $8 is all I had. He got the $8. I had a token. Man, that was the worst experience I ever had. And I'm like, I got on a local from from Brooklyn, all the way back down to Fordham Road by the Bronx Express. No, the Bronx Zoo. Got off there and started walking to where my sister, who stayed in the River Towers over the Deacon. Boy, that's the worst feeling. That's the second worst feeling I ever had. Man, I didn't get home till like 4 in the morning. It took me like 3 or 4 hours. I'm like, my sister tell me, said, why didn't you call me? I would have gave you some money to catch a cab. I ain't know nothing about calling nobody when there ain't nobody telephone. You know, you could have told the taxi cab driver to wait till you run upstairs to get the money from me. I'd have gave. What? I don't know nothing about all that. I'm like green as an apple. But what happened is, it was a learning experience that I didn't wish on. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. You know, I was like, that's it. That's never going to happen to me again. But it did. It did. But that's a long story for another day. But I've had some adventures, good ones and some bad ones. Some I like and some I don't want to talk about. But God don't make no mistakes. He let you go through things so maybe you can prevent others from making the same mistake. I do what I do so I can talk to young people, some adults as well. No, I don't know everything. But if we come together and learn how to communicate, we can solve problems. And the problem we really need to solve is our young people dying in the street, our young people being bullied at school. Our loved ones are dying before their time. I lost my daughter last year out of 7 children. That's not a good feeling. And hers was from natural causes, but it's still not a good feeling. I know in my heart and soul that I'll see her again because that's what the scripture says. When someone leaves this world, they rest in the arms of the Heavenly Father. So I don't worry about death. I worry about where I'm going to be going. Because I already experienced traveling down here, and I ain't never been in space. I ain't never been leaving my spirit going traveling to some other planet. But I don't want to wind up like I did then or some of the situations here that I had to face to protect others from hurting others. I don't like to see people fight. I don't like to see people hurt. But sometimes somebody has to do something because I'm not the strongest man in the world. But I know I'm spiritually blessed. So I know how far to go. And I've been in some life and death situations. It was not my life. It was someone else's that I had to protect them from someone else. We all have a responsibility here on this planet. Even with what's going on today, if we close our mouth and close our ears and put our hands over our eyes, then the enemy wins. The enemy wins. The enemy his only job is to seek and destroy. To destroy what God has already created. Why do I do this? Do I get paid? Nah. But I'm blessed. God take care of the rest. I take orders from someone higher than myself. Because if I didn't, I may not be here. Because the enemy is always trying to destroy. I get a call today from the doctor or the hospital telling me, well, that's personal, but it's crazy. I'm like, anybody told me that? You want me to go to have an appointment to go to see somebody else? Well, where did that appointment? I just saw the doctor last week. Where's all this stuff coming from? I don't even recognize the name you're talking about. Nah, we're not going through that. We ain't going through that. I'll see the doctor next month, or I'll call him today and see what's going on, because they are telling me some diagnoses that he ain't said nothing about. He gave me A-OK. You're getting better. In a couple of weeks, you're just going to take a month to March or April to come back. The healing process is working. So before I can, take the stitches out, give it another month and a half, and we'll get you back in here to remove those. But for all I'm saying, everything looks good. What the lady told me today, I ain't taking your word. We'll get that in writing. I done been through all that. That's why I had to have surgery. Listen to somebody else. We ain't going through that no more. You might fool me once, but you ain't gonna fool me twice. You might fool me twice, but you ain't gonna get me the third time. 3 strikes, you out, or I might be out. That ain't happening, because the enemy is real. We're supposed to love one another and protect one another. And we're not doing it. So I'm going to stay on what my purpose is, or what I believe is my purpose, is to make sure young people know someone cares. And for the adults that listen or watch this later, for you to know that I ain't playing no game. There's people I go to, city, trying to get sponsorship as a 501c nonprofit. I don't really take money. People have offered to donate money, but I'm not used to taking money from people. Now, if you're an organization or a nonprofit, or you are a business person, you're giving me money, but in return, I promote your business and make sure that you increase your bottom line. The more you give, or when you bless someone, God blesses you in return. But when a city tells me that the only thing I want to do is make money, partner, I'm paying your salary. Apparently, I'm making money because you working for the city. How's you making your money? How's you making your money? From taxpayers. You ain't working free. But these are the things that we go through to protect our future generation, our young people. You can say what you want about me on your feet, but I ain't gonna argue and fuss with you, because when I get on my bended knees, I got somebody that's gonna take care of it. I have somebody that's got my back. His name is Jesus Christ. Regardless of what I go through, I know what my God said. He gives you an assignment. If it was easy, then everybody would be doing it. Everybody and their mother would be doing what God has laid upon you, on your shoulders, on your footsteps to do it. Everybody can't do it. Everybody can't be a Martin Luther King, a Megan Everett, Malcolm X, all those that gave their lives in the civil rights movement. It's too many to mention. Too many females. Too many of our kids for over 400 years lynched, raped, fed to alligators. But they don't want their kids to know what they done. That's why they don't want Black history in school. Because it's their history, what they done to the Blacks in America, not just from Africa, but in America. I always been home, and you have too, but they don't want you to know that either. You can't bring 400 or 6 million Blacks from Africa. What part you don't understand? What kind of ship they on? You got all the cruise ships out there now. You can't bring that many people to Norfolk unless they was already here. You can name them whatever you want because it's written in history who makes the rules. The man with the gold. The gold is what makes the rules. Who writes history? We just a part of it. That's why Kendrick Lamar said, well, I got gold. I got gold. They're not like us, but I got gold. So I'm going to make history at the Super Bowl. So when you give out that trophy of gold, you know who was here. We have to protect our future. Just like Kendrick Lamar. He was a child at once. But now he's a man. We all get commands from the whole Heavenly Father. He sent his angels to watch over us. See, God have soldiers. They're angels. Angels that watches over us. Sometimes you might see a little nudge or wind or something out of the ordinary that doesn't feel right. That's your angel watching over you. Don't get it twisted. You don't have to believe me. Read the book for yourself. It's in there. So when you read for knowledge. But when after you read it, you pray to the Heavenly Father for wisdom. It's more precious than silver and gold, more valuable than rubies than pearls. It says it in the book. I who stood beside him when he formed the oceans and separated the wet from the dry. I stood beside him when he created darkness from light. More valuable than silver and gold, more precious than rubies and pearls. But he stood beside. God wasn't the only one here when he formed all this. But it's like a riddle. You have to pray. And then you know that God had wisdom there with him. Just like you. You're God in God's image. But if you don't have wisdom beside you, if you don't have knowledge of wisdom, you won't really see it. It comes to you in different forms and fashions from different people in different situations, but never threat when God got his hands on you. Well, the clock on the wall is saying that's all the time I got. Some other topics I wanted to reach. We'll get it on Saturday. Next time we meet, don't forget GA for Justice on Thursday. Until then, you've been watching the best of the 757 community.